He kept going to the big front window in the living room, staring out for the ambulance and the police. Where were they? Why weren't they here by now? He paced, barely feeling the soft rug beneath his feet, stopped as he heard a siren far off. Its wail came closer and closer, and he stared out the window up the street toward the corner. The wail peaked nearby, diminished, faded to the north. Another siren began behind it, crested, faded to the north as well. Ambulances to an accident, police chasing somebody, God knows what. Why weren't they coming here? He glanced across the living room toward Claire and the baby in the kitchen. Claire looked worse than before, catatonic now, staring blankly at the wide smear of milk across the black table. She was nearly always smooth-cheeked and attractive, but for 2 months when she was pregnant, and after the delivery whenever the baby woke them in the night, her face played a trick, went grotesquely pale and gaunt like a skull, and it was like that now. He sensed something inside her winding tighter and tighter. He was afraid of what she might do to herself if the thing suddenly snapped and she became violent again. She had flung the baby's bottle across the kitchen while he phoned for help. The bottle had shattered, glass and milk flying against the stove, and Sarah had screamed, "Stop it! I don't want to hear any more! I won't listen!" covering her ears, and then she had not been around. Where was she? Why weren't they coming? He was growing worried about what the shock of everything had done to her, wanting badly to go look, holding back, not daring to let Claire out of his sight, thinking, Cass, he didn't need to do this. Not the baby. No matter what, he didn't need to kill the... Jesus, not the baby. In the spring, 1.5 years ago, he had almost gone away with another woman. She had been lovely and good for him, and she had sought him out at a time when his life seemed nothing more than work and responsibility to Claire and Sarah. It was an old story, and he should have known better. Because she was married and she had said that she wanted to leave her husband to be with him, but once she had moved out, she said she wasn't ready to go away with him just yet. She needed time to be by herself and think, which meant that everything was finished. But he had already gone to Claire and told her he wanted out, and then he had discovered the fool that he had been. This baby was their way of forcing themselves to stay together. He had been there to see his child delivered. He had stood next to Claire in her hospital bed through 4 hours of labor, his hand in hers while she took a deep breath and held it during each contraction, letting it out slowly, breathing deeply again. Too thick, her water sac would not break. The doctor had to rupture it, flooding the bed. The doctor froze each side of her distended cervix with a foot-long needle. The nurses wheeled her off to the delivery room, while he and the doctor went through a swinging door to a row of lockers, and put on white caps and gowns and face masks and shoe coverings, and then he was in the bright, sharply antiseptic-smelling delivery room, where he sat on a stool by her head, watching a mirror that was angled between her legs. His breath felt warm and moist beneath his face mask, faintly suffocating. The nurses were arranging trays of instruments. The doctor was joking about the big surprise the baby was going to have when it discovered there was another world. He himself was laughing excitedly. The doctor took a pair of scissors and snipped a long slit down from the vaginal exit, blood pooling out, and then in the mirror, he and Claire could see the baby's hairy brown-pink head, and Claire said, "Come on, baby, come on!" Proud, gasping, and it came, kept coming with each contraction, the doctor easing out one shoulder, then the other, the suspense of what it would be and whether it would be all right, a nurse saying, "Come on, fella," himself saying, "No, it could be a girl." And then in one long, easy slide, it was out into the doctor's arms, squirming to breathe with a small, thin, grating wail. A boy. Well-formed, bloody, covered with thick curds of mucus that looked like brown porridge, the thick, rubbery, blue-black veined umbilical cord leading back into Claire, as she had another contraction, and the smooth, slick red sack of afterbirth squeezed out into the doctor's arms as well. And now Ethan was dead in his mother's arms, because of Cass. He couldn't adjust to it, couldn't accept it.